Welcome to the While My Batteries Charge podcast. Join us as we talk about all things radio controlled. And now, your host,
Folks, this man, he is the king.
Mr. CCxRC himself, Tony CC.
Hey, what is going on, my podcast people? Hey, welcome to the 7th episode of the 6th season of While My Batteries Charge, the podcast. Man, it's an exciting day today. We're celebrating 75,000 subscribers today on YouTube. It's taken a while, guys. We've been going at it for 10 years on YouTube. And it's had periods where it's gone faster and slower and climbing and all of this. And, you see some people rocket ship from like zero to boom, the moon in a year. And some of them are very well deserving of it. Others, I know that the shorts game and there's a lot of stuff that you can play. There's games, and we haven't played those games. We've just tried to bring content that we like creating, and it's just kind of what we're able to do, but we're not trying to be super gimmicky or just take whatever's the popular thing that's going and try and capitalize on it, so and make it into an RC version or whatever, or even just repost videos and use that. So it's been a minute, but we're here, 75,000. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Thank you guys on the podcast. We're over 1,200 listeners a month now on the podcast, which is pretty awesome. So, lots of growth with things, and that's been awesome to see. And I know this is one thing that you wanted back. I'm actually shocked. It's been 12 days since the last one. I felt like I just did a podcast. It's hard. Like when you feel like you've just done them, to get back in and do another one, because you don't think people would be ready, or you've got enough to talk about. And I think we do today. I think we do. So we're just going to go for it, and just be super casual. It's really cold up here. I've got my water as well. My water bottle. I'll be taking breaks to take a swig, because a lot of times I need it. I don't have somebody else to carry the conversation and while I take a drink. So you're just going to get to enjoy me taking a drink. So without that, let's jump right in. Let me give you a rundown. I've got a note of things that I want to talk about today. We're going to talk about the 75,000 subs. We kind of just hit on it. Channel membership, that's something new, and we've seen that double even in the last week or so. So that's been cool. And just the support you guys have been, man, over the last 10 years, that's the best thing, looking back and thinking about everything, is how awesome the community has been toward me and toward my family, toward, watching the videos, communicating. I try my best to respond to things as I can, either through my website or through all of the different ways people can contact, through Instagram, through the multiple Facebook pages, like the one I have for Tony CCxRC, and then the one that I have for CCxRC, and that, because you have to tie it to like a personal account where you talk and you do things in a normal kind of manner through groups, because not all of them let pages be a part of groups. And I've tried my best to not get too many just people onto my personal one. And I know I have had a lot of people trying recently, and I see that they're already friends of mine through Facebook as Tony CCxRC. But I'm really trying to keep the personal one to like people that I know in my family or in friend groups that I have that are outside of RC. And there's some RC people in there as well that I'm really close with. So, but there's just other, information in there that I don't want just being super public, and trying to keep a little bit of private life. We try and share as much as we can, but we like to have some privacy, just for safety reasons, but also just for peace of mind, and not always having to be on the game and feel like everything is work, right? So, because at some point, it becomes work, even though it's a hobby. All right. So that's one of the things, is the 75K subs membership. Losi NASCAR video. We talked about it last time, and what the idea was for the King of RC. We did it. So we'll talk about that. Crawler tracks, Vector XL ramps. I've had them for probably a couple months now. Finally got them built. And I thought it was going to be harder to build than they were. They actually were pretty easy. But when the video was an hour long for the assembly, I was like, this is going to be really, really hard. It wasn't. It was actually pretty easy to put together. And once I built one, I just did the other without the video. And I did it in half the time. So, and so we bashed on those, and we'll talk about that. And we'll talk about the FureTech system now that we've been running it for the LMT Mini, because we hit that on those ramps. New car I've been talking about, working in the side yard, getting that all prepped, the little crawler course. And it was because we had the FMS LC80 brushless version coming, and I was corrected. I called it the new. I might have even said the new. But it's kind of like a Traxxas upgrade in some ways. It's a new color, but they did do some things that are new, but the body's still kind of the same. They haven't done a new licensed body for this, which I'm okay with, because I personally like the LC80 body, but it's tough if people have already bought the older ones and they don't just want a new color scheme, but it has all the new features. That is a bummer. We'll talk about that. Losi Micro T, that led me to this place right here, Grand River RC, to check out what they have going on there with their racing and all of that. It's been here since I moved here. It's the first time I've gotten there, and that's on me. I should have made time somehow to get there and see it earlier. But racing hasn't really ever been my thing. I've done it, and I was getting into it when I left Virginia, and I should have kept with it. And because I had a blast seeing what they were doing there, and it looks super fun. So, we'll talk about that. And I think that's where we'll kind of wrap up. That's quite a bit to talk about. So, first things first, let's talk about the membership. Again, like I said, it's been 10 years in the making. CCxRC as a YouTube channel platform, just as an outlet for me for creativity. You can see here the 75K subs, and it's actually over that. It's been jumping like crazy this month. I tested something which we can talk about a little bit, but there's like this promotions button that I was testing to see what it did and how it worked and what you can do with it. And then you can do it for getting more views on a video, or you can use it for getting more subscribers, and it'll put basically your video or your short in the feed for people with a little subscribe button right there for them to hit. Make it easy to subscribe if they see your videos and think they like it. And so since then, it's been kind of just going crazy, even though I kind of let it lapse. Like I tested it, realized, hey, this would be really probably beneficial for new channels. So let's talk about that. It would be beneficial for you new guys if you're trying to get to a certain number, say 1,000 or 5,000, because it costs. I mean, you pay into it. I think on the first test that I did, I tested 3 different videos at once to see how they do, and I got like 2,000 subscribers that way. And I was like, dang. But I realized that I was paying probably about 10 to 20 cents per subscriber. So you'd be paying about 10 cents. So if you got 1,000 subscribers, it was gonna be like $100, something like that. I think the math kind of in my head for how it worked for me. That it may work better or worse for you, but that was the number of based on impressions. And they have to like your videos too and want to subscribe. But having like a cool video and then having that, for me, it worked out. The percentages were pretty good. So it might be a feasible way for people that want to get growth. Now for me, and I would spend thousands of dollars and it ain't worth it. Like if I'm like, man, I really want 100,000 subscribers. It would be expensive to get there doing it that way, even where I'm at. So I'm like, I'm not going to keep doing this. That was a cool test. I'm going to share that with people and let them know, hey, if you're trying to get to that 1,000, maybe for $100, $150, you could get yourself there. The one bummer is, because a lot of times I find the shorts work better for it. it doesn't really give you view time that you might need. So if you're needing view time, and then also, the good and the bad of, it's funny with the YouTube numbers game and chasing things, which is why I've never really focused on it. And I really don't track. I just happened to be tracking it recently because I seen I was getting close to 75,000, and that's kind of a milestone. Like, I think we did 1,000 was a milestone, then 10,000, 50, 25,000, 50, now 75. So we, when it gets close to those, I kind of look, but I don't like try and track or keep, I'm not interested. I don't really care that much about it. So that's why I said, once I realized how it worked, I'm like, cool, this is cool. I can share this information, but we're not going to keep paying into that. But it was cool because it also did, I felt like it's the, maybe because I was focusing on shorts more, and maybe they got more views and they got into an algorithm. So even when I stopped paying in, I was still getting a lot of subscribers. And so that was interesting. I haven't tracked it much recently to see, what it's doing, but we did see that it was hitting 75,000. We guessed it would be about today. So I went and looked, and it was 75,000. And yeah, that's just awesome. So again, I'm thankful for you guys. It feels a little bit like cheating for about 1,000 of those in there, 2,000 of them. But it has, since I've just started making videos again anyway, it's been growing just because of getting content out again. And I think shorts are helping. The bummer is the shorts don't really help with monetization. They do and don't. I don't get the crazy views. It's helping get subs, I'd say. They're not the subs that sit and watch the long form stuff. So somebody actually laughed at one of our videos. Where was it? Let's go back here. I don't mind showing stuff like this. We get comments and stuff all the time. I'm going to mute this for a second so it doesn't pop up on here with audio. Hey, that's my new cooler. It just showed up on here. There. I just picked this up at a flea market. Flea market in Shipshewana I went to. 190 views, they said, and then they laughed here. So I don't know if I can blow that up. Hey, Ben Wallace, what's up? Oh, what is all this stuff? Where'd the comments go? Here. 190 views with a laughy face. So that doesn't bother me, honestly. Like 190 views on a live stream for me like this, where it's long form and we're kind of rambling. It's Pablo and I hanging out, and we're doing a podcast from it, live video, live stream. We're not, our topics vary from racing. They're really into racing. And so they talk a lot about racing. But I'm not like saying, well, those videos don't get, 2,000 views the first day I post them, so I'm going to stop doing them. That's never kind of how I let YouTube and that dictate to me what I'm doing. So, cause that's more just a hangout time. So, yeah, things are different. And I realize that long form stuff doesn't have necessarily the same audience, and the shorts may have a bigger audience, but there's less pay, I guess, out of it. There's less, monetization that you can get from YouTube for that. At least what I've found personally. And then those subscribers don't necessarily mean they're going to be people that watch your long form stuff. So yeah, the numbers game, that's why I just don't even, I don't even really mess with it too much, but, it's something that's part of the game, and it is what it is. And, some people like to play it. I don't really like to play it, so I don't. And get my channel back up here real quick, and we'll talk about membership. And we have members, a little join button here for those that want to join. Talks about the two different options I have here, a $199 option and a $499. this is not anything that you need in order to see the main RC content that we do and will always do and will always keep outside of the paywall. This just has some other interaction that I do with the people that want more interaction and are willing to say, hey, we're going to help support you in what you're doing with the channel and everything. And so I'm thankful to them for that. It does give you some little emojis and stuff, but you get behind the scenes content more than anything. Maybe stuff that has nothing to do with RC, but might be something else like fishing. We talked about walleye fishing the Detroit River and things. And there will be members only live streams. And those will probably be, it could be this as a live stream that's recorded and only they have access to the live stream. And then when I post it later, it would be open to everybody, but they may be able to interject or even have comments that they may mention and make this live stream and this podcast a little more interactive, but keeping it smaller base of people, because when you get a bigger live stream and the comments are tracking too much, it's almost distracting in a way, because I don't have somebody else that's watching them for me and feeding me the stuff that should be talked about. So with them, I could let them know kind of what we're doing with it. And anyway, so that's just another thing. It may not be that. It may be just that there's another live stream that's either like an after hours of something. But that's coming. It hasn't been done yet. So you'll see on the channel a few times there's videos that'll say members only. There's only been one or two so far, I think. Here's one. It was an editing session, so didn't miss much there. And there was one more, but I don't actually see it. It doesn't look like it actually ever hit. Interesting. Or maybe I didn't put it as a CCxRC video. That might be why it might have just showed up in a different way. So anyway, that's what's coming. Just wanted, here's some of the stuff since the last time that we talked. Actually, here it is, next projects, members only. So it wasn't really an RC video. It's just me behind the scenes telling them what kind of stuff is coming up next, what I plan to be working on, like the Sen rally car that's right there on the workbench. And that got pushed back a little bit because there's FMS LC80 dropped, and I had to get that out. Like, it literally came that afternoon, and that became the priority, was making that video and doing that video. And then we had some other stuff. So that was new things that we're getting into, and those are still getting worked on. But it's been crazy since I got back into it, which has been super fun to get back into. And man, it's been a ride, and it's going to continue to be a ride. And I thank you guys for coming along and following along on this journey. It has been good too, because with some of the extra time that I've had, I've been able to jump in on some other live streams just in the comments, or even joined in on the CCxRC's live stream, which is one I used to be in on all the time on Thursday nights. It's one of the longest going RC live streams, I think. It started back in the Google Hangouts days and has just been going, I don't even know, it's got to be 10 years-ish now. So it's been a long-running standard. It's called RC Talk with the CCxRC Thursday nights. And that's been something I was able to jump back in and see some old buddies and hang out. And it was almost a bummer because I hadn't been in so long that so much of the talk became me, and I didn't want that. I just wanted to hang out and hear what they're doing. But I guess maybe because they're used to talking to each other about what's going on, that they wanted to ask me about stuff. But I was interested in what they were doing. So that's always the tough thing. I felt like I actually kind of shifted the conversation, which feels weird to me. I don't like the focus on me when I don't like it. I know I'm doing this, but there's nobody here, so it doesn't feel like the focus is on me. Yeah, when other people are around, I definitely don't. I don't desire it. So Losi NASCAR video, that was one of them that was talked about in the last one, and I had this idea about the worst RC car. The most hated RC car, and it would have nothing to do with it actually being like hated for how it performs. Turns out I was wrong. There's quite a few people that hate that they made a NASCAR that is 4-wheel drive. So that was something that I have to deal with. So it is pretty hated for that reason. I thought it was just going to be because it was Joey Logano's number on it and his car livery. But there was more. There was more to it than that, actually. So there was extra hate thrown at it. But actually, more people than I thought that were commenting were okay with Joey Logano. So I know that he rubs people the wrong way. A lot of people. So, but we use the King of RC character that was developed way back when with Harley and them in that competition that Matt and Josh put on with the fast Phoenixes that we had to do, the Vanquish ones, and that was a fun project, and it created this character. Living in the South for 17 years, I picked up a little bit of a Southern accent, and it would depend where you were, but a lot of times you'd have it, and you don't notice it until you aren't around people that have it, and then you kind of go back to my Michigan accent that we definitely have up here too, Midwestern Michigan, a little bit of Canada in there, and Canada. You got that oh boy, and yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, kind of stuff, and we definitely have some weird pronunciations, which I've always kind of, I think even in my Southern accent I had, because I would get funny Wreck-It Ralph. You sound like Wreck-It Ralph and a whole bunch of other things. But anyway, yeah, so that just kind of snuck out, and we were talking about going fast, and going fast made me just start talking back in getting when you start talking faster, you start talking more Southern, because that's just what happened. That's how we talk down there, and it just came out, and I was like, oh crud, like I just had an accent, didn't I? Because if so, we're gonna have to do the whole video with this accent, and I don't know if I can do it, because I'm not talking like this most of the time now. It just kind of feels weird, especially up here where nobody talks like this. So yeah, so out of that, the King of RC was birthed because we were already trying to be cocky for the video, because we knew we wouldn't win, but we wanted the character to believe that he was the winner no matter what. And so we developed the King of RC, and even though he sucked, he thought he was the best. And yeah. So we did the NASCAR video as that, because we knew it would work, and so many of you guys asked for it that we're gonna have to do it more often, especially now that I have the time and I can actually jump into that character and do some of that stuff and have a good time with it. So expect to see more of the King in videos, especially videos where people have already done them. Like, why not? Like, that's the perfect time to do it. Like, it's already been unboxed. I was a late comer with the NASCARs, so it's a new livery, but the NASCAR was out. I never was able to get my hands on when they were sold out. So I got my hands on them finally. And so late to the game, the best way to do it is to do it as a King of RC, and we had a good time with it. So, and people seem to enjoy it, even though I felt like I didn't have enough good content to do it and make it actually funny for a long enough time. People said that it was one of the funnier videos. So I don't, you can't judge what people think is going to be funny. So I might have just been saying stuff I actually really meant, and they thought it was funny. I'm not that smart about cars. So you guys have probably learned that over the last, I've faked my whole career in RC on YouTube. Like, I'm a camera guy. I'm a photographer, video guy who, in the beginning was trying to make cool looking videos, and then it changed to be like, you know what, let's do this fast, because there's a whole thing about authenticity, and like if everything looks edited and cut, it didn't feel like it was actually a review, or it didn't let people know how the cars actually perform, because you can cut out all the crap and just show the best little 3 seconds of a shot, and then you could have crashed into a tree, nobody would know. You could have rolled all over. So we started doing a little bit longer, just more raw. And yeah, we try and mix it up between now and do a little bit of each, but you wouldn't know probably by watching my videos that I actually, that was what I did for many years, and have a master's degree in cinema stuff. So yeah, anyway, it's funny looking back, and now I just do YouTube and I have fun with it. But the RC has become part of the fun part of it. Like, it was just like my getaway to just make fun videos with and be creative. And then it changed to be like, well, let's make this about the RC community and RCing. And then that changed the way I did video. And I didn't care as much about the video being awesome as much as I wanted it real and the way that you are communicating with people, and that they're seeing things and that you're not faking stuff. Because, man, Hollywood lies. I think the people lie, just they're liars, but cameras lie. Like you in storytelling, like you can make things that didn't happen. You change things by what you cut out and what you leave. You can mask things, you can hide things. Yeah. So in trying to make it not be that, we changed it. Like we're like, well, let's strip all of the what makes Hollywood and that work out of it and make it more real. So I hope that has been good, and I feel like people appreciated that. We still did some videos and advertisements for companies because they want it, but that's who I think those videos are for anyway. Like when it comes to us people, other than just if we want to show off our cinematography and stuff, which is also totally valid. That's cool too. It's funny when we call them reviews though, and that's how we shoot it, because it's not really at that point. It's just, it's beauty and visuals that don't really represent what running is like. So anyway, don't believe anything you hear on here. That's what I'll say. Just take all of it from everybody and kind of, just like you do with the news or anything else, kind of form your opinions from educating yourself and not just from one source. But we do try our best to just be real about things. And the Losi NASCAR, I think is cool. I don't care that it's 4-wheel drive. So there, I'm being honest. I like it to handle good. We saw what ExoCage did when he removed it, which was very snarky video way back when he did it. Boy, was he. I haven't seen him like that, and that was one of my favorite videos he did, because I was dying, cracking up when he was just removing stuff and just kind of basically, in the way that he was phrasing things, calling people out that what they're wanting is stupid and petty. So it was funny, but I don't care. I know that NASCARs are, I mean, these are just replicas of them. People don't complain that the metal models aren't completely perfectly replicas either. They don't drive. They don't do a whole lot of things. Like they don't actually have drivetrain in them. Like they just have a piece of metal that goes between the wheels. So at some point, they're not 100% models of the real thing. We want them to look and perform like they are those cars. But when they're that small, if you want them to go fast, that's the other thing people complain about, is too slow. They want a 2-wheel drive and they want it faster. But at that size that they came out with, to make it inexpensive to get it in more people's hands, they can't do that. And so the best way to do it is to make it 4-wheel drive. And there's a platform they already had. They didn't have to reinvent it, which would make it even more expensive. They just had to make liveries for it and stretch the chassis a little and a few little changes, but it was a platform that already existed. So all of those things to me says it's okay. It's okay that it's 4-wheel drive. It does not perfection. It's just super wicked to see a bunch of cool NASCAR looking models racing each other in a track. That's all I want to do. I just want to do that. I don't need them to be 2-wheel drive like the real thing. I don't want them to handle like crap. So yeah. In real life, having them 4-wheel drive wouldn't probably be a benefit to them driving them. So they would not want it that way anyway. But we want ours to handle like theirs do. And in this small size, 4-wheel drive makes it handle more like that. So anyway, you can get into it, whatever. All right. So that's the Losi NASCAR video thing. Crawler Tracks Vector XL ramps. I posted a few things on this. The build on it wasn't flawless. I'll say that. It wasn't perfectly flawless. There were some struggles in that I had to sand the pieces where they joined together. Now, granted, they've been sitting in my basement, which is kind of damp and all that. They could have swelled up. I don't know. And if they both swelled up, then the holes would be smaller and the pieces would be wider. I don't know, but I just know that I had to sand them. It wasn't a big deal. I just got one of the little discs for sanding that I have for my orbital sander, but I just laid it on the table and just took the pieces and, ran them across it like this on both sides, a few passes, and then it worked. It wasn't like, oh, woe was me. Like, it wasn't a huge deal. It didn't really set me back time wise. Each one was a little bit more handling, but not a lot. So nothing to complain about. Just know that that's going to be it. And if I would have been fighting them, I would have broke something. But here they are completed, looking good. Running that all through them was great. They worked awesome. I have a few videos here as well of them being driven on, and I'm not hitting the right buttons here for those that are watching. But we're able to do a bunch of cool tricks with them, flips, even, in reverse, because I have the FureTech brushless system in it, which we'll talk about as well. The FureTech Vortex X. So these are the Crawler Tracks Vector XL. It gets confusing. The Vector XL ramp, and it has the FureTech Vortex X brushless combo system, which actually has two different names, like the Peso and the Impulse, I think is the motor name. Anyway, but those have different, it gets very confusing, especially on the FureTech end, the way that they do combos, because they create combo names, but those use different motors and ESCs. But it's a brushless censored combo from FureTech. It's super smooth, it's super fast, and boy, we were pulling off the launch ramp. We were doing double backflips, and then we were driving in reverse and doing flips that way, which would be like a backflip. But then even what would be a front flip starting in reverse, which it was like my mind was going nuts. And then with the backflip side of the ramp, we were doing like triple backflips because of the power. You could get it that way. The ramp setup was awesome. It's super lightweight. That's my favorite part about it. People, yes, you can make them yourself. That's the critique that people would have is, oh, you used like 65 pieces of wood to make what you could have made with 8. Yes, we did. You would have to know the angles that you need to do. You would have to have tools. You'd have to have a saw, probably a jigsaw, in order to cut the sloped angle on one side. You would have to have a like screw gun or nail gun or different way to put it together. So you're going to need tools. This required 0 tools other than a lighter. And like I said, I used that piece of sandpaper to just kind of thin out the pieces, mainly to make it easier on me so I wasn't have to force it. I didn't want to break it. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool ramp, and they're super light. So you could make it yourself. It'd be heavier, potentially stronger, but you would have to come up with a design, or you use like the design I'd done for 10 scales, shrink it down. So if you want lightweight, you want portable, you don't want to have to go and buy tools. If you don't have tools already, this is an option. But I think making it is also a great option. I've made ramps out of cardboard and taped them to the floor. I've made them out of plastic pieces. I've made them out of books. I've made all kinds of things. And then, I've got these ones from Crawler Tracks that they sent me to test out, and they're awesome. So if it's something that you're looking for, then awesome for you, right? Like that you don't have to create it. It makes it easier for you. And you just have to then build it, which is not hard to do. It took a little time, but it would have taken me just as long or longer to cut it all out of real wood. Glue it together, get it to bend right, get the right angle, draw it all out, sketch it, figure it out. So either way, you have to take the time to invest in it and do it. So I want to give a quick shout out to the members. I didn't do that earlier. So we've got Michael Aguirre, Tanker, T68, Cody Pringle, Chris Freeman, Psycho 13 Garage, which is my buddy Dirk, Racing Case 87, Axial 32, Tyler, Metal RC, and North Rock Ryan. So thank you guys. We'll leave the ticker up here for a minute. Those are their YouTube channels. So if you're on YouTube, check them out, subscribe to them. Some of them have their own channels going, and that's awesome. All right, moving on to the next topic. I don't want this to be forever long episode. We're already getting in there. We're already at the 35-minute mark ish. What else? So LMT Mini, we ran on there. We also ran the Mojave Grom on there, and I got to run it a little bit. I hadn't really run the Mojave Grom, but it's really fun. It's the brushed version, which is still fast enough for a small space. The brushless ones look wicked. I'm not gonna lie, but with some of the stuff in price increases and stuff like that, they're a little bit more expensive, which may make you question at that size how much you want to spend. Which I say that, and I just spent $300 to buy the LMT Mini. That went up in price as well, so it was $300, and I think it's awesome. So, and I just bought the Micro T's. Those are $130. Those are actually a great price point, but they're really small. They're really, really small. But you can get the minis on those for not much more. So the reason you get the micros is space. If you really want to run inside, they're awesome for that. You could do a little racetrack in your garage. I'm going to do one in my driveway, which I think would also be too small of an area for even the minis to race. So for the micros, you can do it in a small area. I got a video coming on that. Haven't finished it up yet, but there is one that is coming. But I do have a few things. So, what were we talking about? The Grom. Oh yeah, I just want to mention the Grom because we were running that on the Crawler Tracks Vector XL ramp, and I thought that it actually jumped better than the stock LMTs off of the launch ramp, the kicker side. I felt like the kicker side, the angle is a little abrupt. If you didn't time it just right, it would kick the back end with the way the suspension would hit and rolling through it. So I needed to leave a little bit in to kind of get some speed and keep, to add speed at the bottom to kind of settle it down in and ride up it and keep the nose up. Otherwise, I end up nose diving a lot with it. That was not the issue with the Armas. The Armas handle it a lot better, and it's awesome for those. The backflip side, however, is awesome for the LMT. And honestly, the other side is fine too. You just got to learn it. That's the thing. You got to learn how to hit it. With the brushless one, no issue. It had the wheel speed for days, and it ate it up and loved it. The only thing for that is I didn't love landing it on my asphalt driveway. I wish I had a better dirt area to run that on. So what I ended up just doing is having it drive in on the cement and hit the ramp and land in what was actually a dirty area that we had set. We were seeding, and I shouldn't have been jumping into that and then throwing seeds, but I did. So I'm sorry to my father-in-law who put the seeds in all of that. So yes, right, let's go. Vortex, we talked about that. FureTech Vortex brushless censored system, really awesome. You saw the power it had. We were doing crazy tricks, triple backflips, reverse backflips, all kinds of stuff. I want to talk a little bit about the Losi Micro T. So kind of a weird turn of events. So I was in Ryder's Hobby Shop. Oh, sorry about the NASCAR. And when I was in there looking at the NASCAR, because I knew I've wanted one, and it finally was out, and my buddies have one, and we want to race, so I had to get one. It was out, and I saw they had the sprint car there, and I was like, oh, I should get that too. They had the red one. That's the only one they had left. And probably because it's more expensive coming with the battery and the charger, put it at $400. But they had two of them. And I was like, I'll just wait. Because if I buy this Losi NASCAR and I buy that, I'm at like $650. And I probably should have just put them both on the shelf and went and got a Losi LMT too. Because I don't have one of those yet. Because the 750 is tough to spend. But like $200 right here is not a thing, is big of a deal. Even the 400 on its own. But when you're doing both at the same time, you're like, why don't I just save up and get the other? Well, I didn't get the Sprint. Let's just say that. I thought I'd go back and get it later. So I was going back to get it. It'd been a little bit, had some money. I was like, I really want this because there's all these oval tracks around here. So I would love to get the Sprint car. All right, I'm just gonna do it. And because I don't know when they not supposed to be back around until July, and is the price gonna go up? I don't know with the tariffs. I don't know. A lot of questions. So um I went back there to get it. They don't have them anymore. I'm like, ah, okay. Well, I did want to get one of these micros. Um, there's a company making some pretty sweet bodies for them that reached out to me, and the micro T had just kind of dropped, and I watched some videos on it, and the steering on it, and it seemed a little faster than the micro B. So I'm like, I'm just gonna do that one, and I did, and I was gonna get two because I had the money for the sprint car, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna get two because what if it sucks? Like it looks good in video, but what if it sucks? Like, and so I got it home and made a ramp for it out of cardboard and just ran it in the driveway, and it was awesome. The handling of it was good. It was cool. I'm like, this would be so much fun to have two and race. Whoever comes over, I'll have the two and we could just play around with them and race them. Or with my boys, we can race them, or I could make my boys race each other for like who has to do dishes. I don't know. I'll make up something just for fun. And so I ended up grabbing one, and it's super great. So then I went back to get another, and so now I have two. Well, they gave me this Grand River RC card and said, check it out. They race these up there. You should go check it out. Now, I know they raced, but I didn't know they raced these. Oh, this they actually gave me with the sprint car. But when I was buying these, they also said that they raced these. So that was partly why I wanted the sprint car, was I also knew that they were going to race them there. And so I was like, all right, let's do this. Grabbing a drink of water here. Saw they were reworking the mini area. They were getting it off the floor, and they were building a subfloor, and they were going to have it done for Friday for a race. And so I decided to go there and check it out, and it was super fun, super fun looking. They had it on the mini Z track, and then they added some jumps, and it was super, super cool. So I decided that I'm probably going to get into it. And I also decided to pull out my mini Z's again and take a look at them. So I did, and they look so good. But you'll see the track here as I'm going. If you're watching it on the video, the mini Z track is a very big area that they have there. They also have 10 scale stuff for buggies and short course, and then they remove the jumps there. It's all like carpet on that side, and then they'll do, I guess, oval racing or maybe even on road. I don't even know what they do with the 10th. Everything, they seem to have a lot of different things that they do. And then they have the mini Z racing, and then they just put out a couple jumps for the micro T's and the micro B's. And right now there's stock classes for those, and they just let them run together. I'm sure some of that'll change depending on how many people come, but I like that it's stock. There's not a whole lot that needs to really be done to these, although you can go in and tune some of the settings in the ESC if you want to, for drag brake and different things like that. But anyway, Grand River RC, you'll probably see me up there. Hopefully we'll get these mini Z's all finished up and buttoned up and get them on the track as well. But that is the last thing that I think really to talk about, other than the FMS LC80, which is right here, and it looks absolutely fantastic. They murdered this thing out, blacked it all out. I added the stickers from the sticker pack to the back windows just as a little pop of white, kind of that black and white. The lights glow yellow. It does have turn signals for everything. Like, when nobody uses turn signals on the trail, so it's weird. or when you turn corners, you don't use them. It's only at like stoplights and actual street turning. So it's weird that they're not a switch. If they could come out with a switch to turn them on instead of using the steering, that would be the best. Use a 3-position switch. That would be super cool. Then I would think turn signals are cool. But the way that they set them up, not cool. So sorry, FMS. Don't love it. But love everything else about this build that they've done. Because what they did do is they did separate the lights. So we ran the motorcycle as well. And we've done so much RCing recently. But so anyway, they separate the electronics. And the old version of the FCX18, which was awesome. I really liked it. It was one of my favorite ready to run 18 scale for just how well it worked. Then they went brushless with it for this one. But they more than went brushless. They separated the ESC, the receiver, and the lighting kit. It all used to be in one box using weird plugs. Made it really hard to upgrade and do different things with. This one, they changed that. They separated the components, and there's a little module now for the lights up in the top of it that's stuck in there. They've got an outrunner motor, so there's the ESC at the top, and there's the module for the lighting in the top of the body. They've got metal gears throughout this thing now in the diffs, and but you just have to pull 2 wires out of that module to make the turn signal stop, which is so great. And then those are routed through to the receiver with a cable that attaches to the body, which makes removing the body so much easier. And they've done a lot. The biggest thing that this car needs is the little steering cheat that we did on the last one, which is removing the screws that hold the outer part of the axles on and just putting them on the backside. There's a hole there that you can use to lock them down. So you do that and then put like brass wheels and better tires on. That's it. That's all this needs. That's all the first one really needs. No, that's not true. The first one needs metal gears and the diffs because it's sitting on my back table there. Actually, it's right there behind me. And it needs new diffs in it because I let somebody use it that didn't know how to drive it. And when it got bound, they stayed on it and they just stripped out the plastic gears. This has metal gears. So that's awesome. But really, other than that, the brushless system is great. I actually think the brush system is not bad that they had in the other one. It's a large motor, actually worked pretty well. So last thing is just been having fun RCing, and had a buddy over and he was running. We ran the Mojave 4S. He used to do RC stuff and knew Losi, and he's into cars and he's into motorcycles and he's into the pre-runner, the short course style trucks. And yeah, anyway, he's my guy that I talk supercross and motocross with, like race. We text each other during the races or after and ask each other what we thought, if there's anything that seemed like a sketchy move or not. We kind of compare notes and do it through text message or on a call. But he came over and I let him try the Losi Pro Moto, and he picked it up like first try. Not hard at all to learn that truck. It's pretty sweet. And then the next day I took it out and was jumping it and just having fun with it. Need to get a new jacket for it. I actually ordered a hoodie on Etsy. I think it's 413 RC up there. And so he's going to be getting me one with the logo on it and my name on it and all that. So should be cool. But just last thing, guys, thanks again for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, I know that there's not like a comment area on here. In fact, you guys can't see the jumps and stuff I was doing on this. So while I'm wrapping up a little here, we'll let you watch a little of the Pro Moto. But man, thank you guys so much. If there's stuff I know it's not easy to comment on podcasts, but if there's things that you want me to talk about, or if you think would be fun to listen to on the podcast, let me know. Like, send me a message on Instagram or on Facebook or YouTube if you want. Just on a video, just say, hey, on one of your upcoming podcasts, could you talk about this? Or, hey, I think it'd be cool if you talk to this person. I started to do that for a while, but those ones actually got listened to less, so the hard thing is when you have on guests, the topics change and, or, it's weird because people get onto, you get on YouTube to watch certain people, right? And you go and watch their channels and do whatever. But if their channel is always, even a model like Joe Rogan's tough, right? So I'll watch Joe Rogan, but there's ones I just don't even listen to because I'm like, I don't care what that guy has to say. Like, oh, that guy's not interesting. And so even Joe Rogan being interesting isn't enough to pull me in on certain episodes. So I get that. And so it is what it is. But if that's something you guys do think would be interesting, or even for short sections of these or whatever, or maybe if I did do interviews, it would be helpful to wrap it inside of something like this type of episode. I don't know. Like, I just want to try and help make content that is enjoyable for you guys, is beneficial for you. I know a lot of people listen to these while they're driving or while they're at work. And that's when I listen to podcasts, mainly when I'm driving, because my work stuff, usually I have audio stuff going, so that I have to be working with. But when I'm driving, I like to throw on a podcast and listen. And, but yeah, let me know if you have ideas on how to make it better. But thank you guys, 75,000 subs on YouTube. That's awesome. Again, thank you to the members. If you want to join the membership on YouTube, you can do that on the page right next to the subscribe button. There's a join one. Again, I'm not trying to make it anything that makes other people miss out on the RC content and the stuff like this podcast. It's just adding new content that is more behind the scenes than anything, like a fan club would have been back in the day. If you were into bands and you joined their fan club, is a lot of kind of behind the scenes stuff. It didn't mean that they were giving you stuff that, like, whole albums that nobody else got. It was just other random stuff. And every once in a while there was a bonus track, but most of the content I do want to get out to people. Like, I want people to see what the RC stuff is that we're doing. And then just the communication side, as I think you just get more communication directly that way. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, man. It's been a wild ride. 10 years. I look at every video now. I've seen some old ones get popped up because of comments, and I look at them now. I'm like, man, I got old and fat, and we're still doing it. So anyway, have fun RCing, guys. Catch you next time.